Hello, I'm Nandini Bhattacharya, a third year undergraduate at Ashoka University. Welcome to my poster on rationality in group decision making in zebrafish. All organisms have to often make decisions in the wild about food, predators, mates, or habitat, and each of these decisions affects that organism's survival and reproductive success. It is interesting then to study how patterns of decision making, if any, have evolved in various species. The concept of economic rationality postulates that a rational agent would maximize its utility. It follows then that a preference order created by absolute utility measurements would remain consistent even at the addition or removal of options in a choice set. This is the idea of independence of irrelevant alternatives, or IIA. According to IIA, if there is a consistent preference for apples to oranges, then adding a banana should not change that order of preference. Applying this principle to animal behavior, this study by Tanya Latty and group studied rationality in slime mold. A slime mold culture was given a choice between two piles of oats, and its preferences between the two were calculated. If rational, the relative preference between the two piles would remain the same at the addition of a third option. However, it was reported that a relative preference of one pile over the other changed when a third option was introduced. This change in the order of preference due to a third irrelevant option is called the decoy effect and has been extensively studied and confirmed in many animal models such as humans, zebrafish, honeybees, birds, ants, and more. Still, individuals often make decisions in groups and not individually. Social animals tend to live in communities and forage together, necessitating decision making at a larger scale than that of just an individual. The question then remains about how these decisions are made. Studies by Sasaki and Pratt in acorn ants and rock ants have found that individually irrational ants start displaying increasingly rational behavior when in colonies. They found that individual ants shifted their preferences for two nesting sites, A and B, with the introduction of two different decoy options, decoy A and decoy B. When in colonies, however, this shift was insignificant, suggesting a collective rationality formed by a cancellation of individual biases when in group settings. We investigated the effect of group size in exhibiting decoy effect in zebrafish, a group living species. To investigate this, we employed this setup. The focal fish would be placed in the central tank, and shoal options were presented in the peripheral display tanks. 2 fish and 4 fish shoal options would be placed in opposite display tanks. In one of the remaining tanks, a third option of either 1, 3, or 5 fish shoals would be placed as a decoy. A GoPro camera was installed right above the tank to record the video. We ran 3 trials, one with no fish, one with a dichotomous choice of 2 and 4 fish shoaling options, and a trichotomous trial with a decoy option, with 2-minute breaks between each. The choice offerings were counterbalanced with half the fish seeing a dichotomous choice first and half seeing a trichotomous choice first. The actual placement of the shoals was randomized. This whole setup was covered with a black cloth to ensure no visual cues outside of the peripheral tanks would be visible to the fish, and the tanks were lit by an LED strip. Pilot trials had previously established visibility. The recorded videos were then labeled and analyzed using Deep Lab Cut software, and the results were further analyzed to ascertain fish preferences. With an initial sample size of 16 fish to determine whether a trend was visible, we found that a larger shoals violated rationality less than smaller shoals. Calculating the preference index for the choices of these fish, we can see that the difference between the average preference for the larger shoal over the smaller shoal in the dichotomous treatment versus the trichotomous treatment is smaller with groups of 3 than groups of 2. Further, upon calculating effect sizes, there is a smaller effect size in groups of 3 compared to groups of 2. This shift indicates larger groups are less susceptible to the decoy effect. We now aim to work on modeling this behavior and predicting trends in group decision making in zebrafish. With that, I would like to thank my team for their contributions and you for your attention. I will be on the Discord channel to answer any questions you may have, or you could email me at the email ID mentioned on the screen. Thank you.